I finally figured out how people do like the I'm live thing and still edit stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just have not thought to put that all together yet.
Gotcha.
You mean like changing the stuff in the actual notification after you do it, or?
So no, I mean like having a starting soon screen, because you can have scene assets in your sources. So you can just have an entire scene that's like, I'm starting soon, and then you can edit everything else. Because otherwise you're switching through scenes and... just overlays. Someone got first already? What? How?
Boomst.
Boomst of... How?
There we go. All refreshed.
Oh. I need to get better about clearing that. Ads are starting soon, so I'm gonna wait until after ads and then we'll start.
Makes sense to me.
Indeed, you were too fast.
So is that a like setting that you have to actually do like manually for that?
No, you are -1 here, yeah. Negative first here. It's a, I can limit how many can be redeemed per stream. And first I have limited to 1 redemption per stream. Objection! Nuh-uh. What do you mean, nuh-uh?
See, the funny thing is that argument would get way farther than you think it would in this game.
It really would. There we go. There's Mr. Ads, man. How many emote slots do I have, I wonder? I have 8 animated and 1 open slot. I should just make things that people can throw. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Hey, didn't Twitch recently like up the animated number by like a lot?
They made it equivalent to the normal amount. Your Honor, my client, please.
You're playing car crash?
No, Funk threw a brick through my monitor.
Oh.
Your Honor, my client pleads, you weren't even there. How would you know? They do that in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And then hand wave it away. Alright. Would it be continue?
No, I guess. So if you probably. Because yeah, they probably have it so that they're like separate things.
Hey Watson, cinder block. Catch.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
Pleads with proof?
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
Smash cuts. Absolutely pointless debate.
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
Okay. I kind of would have figured they'd keep that going.
Oh, it's her. I remember her.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
We're Mia? Neat. Or whatever her name, Susato.
Are you speaking of,
So
you...
Oh!
I ask for
She
your
deserved
guidance.
it.
Kazuma-sama.
What are you saying?
So, speaking of, am I still voicing her, or do you want to
Sure.
take her back?
No. I mean, whoever.
Mason, what say you?
Doesn't make a difference to me. There will be plenty of voices eventually.
I vote Mason.
I am good with either.
Alright.
13 of... Sorry. I still have cashews in my mouth. 13th of August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber.
Here I am again, after 9 months, the Supreme Court of Judicia of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself.
Oh, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late.
Oh, yes. Good morning, sir.
I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either.
I mean, London does tend to not have sunlight.
Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish I'd never been born. Almost.
Goodness. Not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say.
Yuji Mikotoba, professor of medicine at Imperial University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father.
Excuse me? Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today?
Oh, yes, that's right, miss.
Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. And I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. This whole thing.
Ray, remember me. Born the same year as I and my greatest friend. Though unusual for women in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed.
Oh, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing.
Sorry.
And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful.
Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am.
It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work.
Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba?
If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax.
Disguise?
Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course. I wasn't sure how convincing it would be.
Are we cross-dressing?
Probably.
But this does make me feel a little relieved. As you say, father.
Father? What? Is that you, Susato?
I'm so sorry. I didn't say something sooner,
No, what are
right?
you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, varsity cap, the varsity cape, and that varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University, a male student.
I'm so glad you think so. I tried very hard. Means all of my preparation have been worthwhile. I woke up at 4 this morning to make a start.
But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that?
Well, you see,
It was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
My defense?
never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at being born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We are not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike.
But women are forbidden.
Just for today, I will be leaving my true self at the courtroom door so that I can act as your lawyer.
Oh, Susato. You'd go to such lengths for me.
Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve.
No, I have complete faith in you.
Hey,
It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in the court? You're so gallant and dashing.
hey, get a hold of yourself. Please do not look at me like that. Those flushed cheeks and doting eyes, like a doe in the middle of the woods.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's just you really do look so dashing.
Yes, you've mentioned that once or twice.
You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man.
I am pleased. I think you certainly have boosted my confidence today. Alright, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can't see through it. I've noticed that slumped, and you're trembling ever so slightly.
Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder.
Of course, you have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right?
Yes, yes it is. Perfectly clean.
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end of this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer.
That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant counsel. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
Just London Bobby.
I'm on loan. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Oh. Stand aside!
I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast before, except on Sandwich Wednesday.
Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom and with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
I mean, it can't be that hard. Ryunosuke did it.
Right.
He's an idiot.
It was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. Father, you haven't told her, have you? Am I right in assuming Ray doesn't know how it came to this?
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that.
Is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was?
We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student.
Thank you, Father. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judiciaire hors sans nom. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a trip to study the Great Britain. 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstance, I find myself back in Japan. How many times I wished he were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san.
No! Just hearing in the distance.
Yep.
13th of August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membaumi.
I guess I can do him. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
She doesn't look
She
like a
kind
guy
of just
at
still
all.
looks like herself.
How is that fooling anyone?
She at least needs a funny mustache.
I know, right? Defense counsel, are you ready?
Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready.
Ready. I am awake.
Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaru Naruhodo? Is that correct?
Sorry, what? Say that again.
Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture.
Ryutaru.
Why wouldn't he tell her that
That I
beforehand?
should probably not be saying out loud. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind.
Well, counsel?
Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro. He who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan.
Ah,
It seems Ryutara may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it.
I mean, that doesn't help either.
And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
Naruhodo?
A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be... You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is,
His cousin.
That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them.
What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused had to call in a country boy.
Oof. How dare you? Susatos is every
Jesus.
bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her.
Her?
Oh,
Please be careful, Ray.
What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not.
So nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through.
they
So
just...
he's still an idiot, so
Hmm?
be fine.
It's funny that they literally just copied and pasted his eyes onto this model.
Mhm.
Like it or not, eyes are wont to fleet.
Ice
They got
go
muscles?
bird. What did you say?
I just said they got muscles, they're allowed to move.
You. The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
Oh,
Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom.
9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, this same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. for a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy.
So, Counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions?
Alright, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple.
Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim.
Phew, it is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried.
How messed up would it be if it made you, like, use information from the previous game?
I feel like it could.
What's the matter?
Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else. The
No.
rules hand goes through. Is it gonna like make her be an idiot?
Yeah.
But like, why?
I don't. I
I can't
think
go back.
it's just to give us room for player input.
I guess. Like it or not, minds are 1-2 blank.
It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances.
Oh dear, this is a dismal failure.
Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Let me open the court
Of
record.
course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be among the key information about the case in the court record.
That's right. Just use E to open the court record.
It's not working. You lied to me.
Try again.
Then you need to flip to the people section with E.
It's not working.
And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely.
Alright, check the court record with E. That's where the information I need will be.
Giselle Brett.
Giselle Brett.
Yeah. The victim of the case, who was a former British exchange student 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of...
She's the assassin.
Yeah. That's why I said she deserved it.
Yeah.
Takasuchi Ochi, the lead prosecutor of this case, who appears to be struggling to accept the changes afoot as a result of these turbulent new times in Japan, the Meiji era. Rei Mimbami, my best friend who works as an assistant to my father in his laboratory at the Imperial Yume University. She's the defendant in this case. And Yujin Mikotoba, a medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. He is an authority in forensic medicine in charge of the university's labor. He also happens to be my father. Alright.
That's a lot. We're working 43.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other guy also doesn't look bad for like 52 or whatever.
I mean, other than his like hair being whack, he looks fine.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's something he can get
It's
away
just
with a
like
bit
kind of
more
making
in this specific
time
context.
period.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he
Also-
might have more hair than he usually does.
I think so too, actually.
Yeah, normally it's just the like shortcut like down to ears maybe. I don't remember what he looked like in the last game. It wasn't like this though.
Mm.
Postmortem report. Time of death just after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be due to trauma to the victim's lung from a knife blade. Only a single wound was identified. Victim Giselle Barrett, female, British. Time of death 11th of August at around 2 p.m. Ascertained by examination and witness statements. Cause of death: single deep stab wound from behind, piercing the lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Notes: extreme meiosis?
Meiosis.
What is meiosis? People can... Oh.
I would
defines
guess that.
Yeah. Pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes.
Perhaps a drug
Yield.
presence.
I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Jezail Brett. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Jezail Brett.
Giselle Brett.
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure.
Probably gets forgotten eventually once we get the actual Ace Attorney.
Yeah. Correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history? We got ads starting in 17 seconds, so I'm just gonna let that be there.
Let it play out.
Yup, rather than cutting us off in the middle of the thing.
Okay.
It says ads starting soon. It's lying to me. Where is my fat ad man?
Bezos, get over here.
Right? Maybe he got stuck in a pothole. Like a really big one. This might not take us away. He might just come up and... There he is. Ads man, protect us. Yeah, no, it didn't take us away. Let me... Ads man protected us.
Oh, nice.
OBS. Sources. Visibility state. I guess. So that's the top one, which means we want the bottom one. You left empty-handed? Yeah. The bouncer worked. You need to talk to your manager here. I mean, you can talk to him in a minute. I need to do the, 1 second. We are back from ads. I just need to fix this. Slide. Show transition up. High transition is slide left. He's not gonna be happy when he returns. Okay. So that is too fast to actually see for something so big.
Hmm.
High transition. Oh, because it's a cut instead of the slide. I said slide. And it needs to slide right. Okay, I fixed it.
Everything good?
Yep. Right, we read this.
Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record.
Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the women's student persona was the face of a killer.
Wow.
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Yes, she was a killer. Do we think
That-
this is still him or her?
What's the dad?
That's
I
probably
think
still
that's the
him.
dad.
Yeah.
At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain.
Well, no ad man to save us now. Bye. Why you no work? You know what? Here. Let me.
Trying to troubleshoot something?
Yeah. Oh, of course. It's because they're copies of each other. Hold on. Let me copy, transform, copy, transform. Remove. Yes. No, I'm fixing it now. So I can't do that. Let me see, right quick, transform, copy. Stick notes. Transform, edit, transform, screenshot. Well, bam. There you go. That should work. Sorry. I keep trying to tab back in, and it keeps doing the thing.
Thus is the issue with multiple programs.
Yep.
At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor. Oh.
Oh, so it's the judge that's saying this.
Was it? Is it?
Well, it's not my person.
It's not Mikotoba.
So,
It can't be Mikotoba, and Susato wouldn't say. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba. I think this is the judge.
Okay. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba.
yes, I was indebted to the man. He had been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve quickly.
Indeed it was, which was why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Barrett.
Red dumb looking at.
I know, right? Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
Why Shanghai?
There's a British consular court there.
Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
That went well, I think. And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed.
Only the day before. Gasp.
That will do. I'm satisfied with the counsel for defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Last question. Do you know how a stereoscope works? Let me explain it to you.
And the stereoscope is old news. Now it's all about the telegram. Radio waves to the future. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle.
As demonstration. Right?
Correct.
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie.
As is your wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the imperial capital under a bright blue sky at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal.
So not to be difficult or interrupt or anything,
Mhm.
but why was an accused murderer at a beach hut?
I don't know. Maybe it's like or what is it, Switzerland? They're
He should just be in jail, though.
yeah, but somewhere they have jails that are like a 5-star hotel, basically.
But they're still inside a jail. So those are secluded beach access.
Maybe it was her work day. You know, go out on the beach.
There's also the like international aspect to it that might influence that a little bit.
Yeah. She might not have. She technically wasn't convicted. She had to be extradited to somewhere else. So it could be that they weren't allowed to hold her in a prison, otherwise it would seem as though she had been convicted and go against their laws or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she should at least be under house arrest then. So it should have happened.
Yeah. I think they were in the middle of transferring her, though, which, in that case, she was by where the boat would be. I don't understand why it's a beach, but
Well, if she was by the boat, there shouldn't be a bathing hut at a secluded beach.
Mm,
Like, the boat shouldn't be at a secluded beach.
I don't know. Maybe it was, because Ace Attorney.
I'm just saying, because if she's being extradited, she should be extradited from the port, because it's an international incident.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, logic like that doesn't have any place in Ace Attorney. Except for when it does.
Mm-hmm.
There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, Ray Mambami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive.
Oh.
The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he seem surprised by this?
I don't know. Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
It's certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words that raised an awful lot of questions. It certainly was words. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said. What's the powerful motive? Yeah, that's the.
I just realized I'm covering the text box.
With what?
The camera.
My face.
I mean, it was only TJ's face.
Mm-hmm.
Eh?
I mean, I could move slightly and like
You know what?
adjust it a little bit.
I have an idea. Instead,
You like,
I'm here.
yeah, can you like split it?
Yep.
I guess you have to like mirror the one side then.
We're gonna be here for a while.
Yep. It's not like I can do it faster. I don't think. Well, what was that? 23 from the bottom. We'll just. Yeah, there's 2 of me now. Hi.
And now, if I do this, it looks like I have very long arms.
Long arms, you say?
Mm-hmm. I need to take the other camera and crop it a little more as well. He's the law. Yeah, long arm is the law. There we go.
Oh,
What he said about...
Motive seems the most relevant to me.
Yeah, what is the motive? Enlighten me.
you're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement.
Is the Yoko boy using long words he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon.
No matter, let us put this to the accused, shall we? Mbami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then?
Oh, well,
You're like Wilson.
I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago?
What kind of dialogue is that?
I don't know. That's dumb.
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who had killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled for hatred for what she had done, a powerful hatred.
Why would you?
Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying. Don't make it worse for you.
The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Where's your proof?
Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use his undying respect for a former mentor like that. I must find out more details on something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution on what he said. So I guess do we just go down the list, start with the bathing spot, or go with being alone together?
I feel like why were they alone together is a bigger question than why at the bathing spot, because like at the end of the day they were there.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling it's gonna make us go through all of them,
Yeah, we might.
and then a fourth one's gonna pop up. Let's go with alone together.
Okay.
Membami-san,
Yes, what is it, Susa? I mean, Naruhodo-san?
I'm really starting to wish we made my alias Ryotaro Susato. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were alone with her.
Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present, a detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You
Sounds
and no
like
one
a
else.
failure of the detective.
Yeah.
The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
But she was assigned to be a... Whatever.
She was told to be there.
No.
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
They go through these investigations so fast that it just makes no sense sometimes.
Kindly refrain from conjecture. Counsel, hold your tongue.
It seems like in the Ace Attorney world, as long as you're not, like, still there, you're pretty much good to go
Yeah.
on any crime.
Yeah, basically. Oh, murderer got away. Oh no.
Hey, that guy was walking right next to him. Kill him. Book him.
The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him goad you.
I'll attack if I want to.
Oh dear, this is really terrifying. But Father's right, we need more information. The same sentence I said before. If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie.
What do you want? You fresh-faced young yokel student?
I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot.
Ha! My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins.
No, that's not what I meant. Listen. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brent had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
Hell if I know.
I don't make the choices.
For old time's sake, I believe.
What? What?
Sorry. That makes no sense.
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day out on our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply.
So the British killed her.
That
Got
sounds
it.
really fishy.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly fishy.
But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal. Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I.
Did he just say anything? Hell if I know. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
In any case, it was decided that it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
That's...
So then where was the detective?
Yeah.
And it better not have been like Sholmes 2.0.
Oh no, it was the detective from the boat. Probably.
Okay.
The one that's
Was he-
constantly coughing up blood.
But in fact, a murder took place. Your detective was not very good.
I said don't look at me. It was that young student girl who did it, not I. That's very suspicious.
No one has proved that yet.
I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to.
I mean, we clearly needed to.
I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now.
Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration instead of continuing her research work at the university. Instead, continuing.
That makes no sense either.
Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing the murderer of the mentor whom she had such great respect enjoys that undeserved liberty grinds your gears, yes?
We got ads in a couple seconds.
And we will wait. One never can tell when the ads are gonna pop up.
No.
Except for the people who know exactly when they're gonna show up.
Like Jeffrey Bezos himself.
Jeff the Bezos, you say?
Oh, you could test the
Oh,
thing you're messing with.
Well, you know, regardless, this will take one of us away. If you want to test it, Luce, go for it. Or I guess I will. Where is it? There we go. Now who shall be taken away?
It is now only me.
I guess it's your channel now, TJ.
It's always me.
You know what that means, right? Something.
I guess it does.
Hey, it's a true statement.
Everything always means something.
No. The equivalency of, hey, look, a distraction. He should take you both since he left empty-handed twice. I don't know how to do that because I'm splitting one camera and it can only take one source. I wish. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't.
Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's expedition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment.
Oh, Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
And here's another at a very slightly different angle.
If you look at them together, you can see the jump.
As you can clearly see, there's nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden. I see at least two things already that fit that.
Oh, I didn't get entered into the record yet. Hold on. The court will accept this photographic print as evidence. Photographic print?
You gotta wait for the pop-up.
Yo. Crime scene photograph. A photographic print of the scene taken by the police just after the incident occurred. The stab wound in the victim's back is clearly visible.
I'm ready for this to be something dumb, like her hat came to life and stabbed her.
Her hat is alive, yes. It came alive during the last court case when she, like, had a mental breakdown and it flew away, I believe.
Okay.
So,
Well, there you go.
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
So,
So, by extension, they killed not only her, but her hat as well.
Yeah.
I think the hat's just playing dead though, trying to escape under the radar.
Yeah. The hat's the real mastermind after
The
all.
hat is a goose. Can you really trust it?
No, it's a swan. You can trust it less than a goose.
It could still be a goose pretending to be a swan.
True, true. You can't tell. They're not trustworthy. As I understand it, then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. Give me this.
You get a magnifying glass, you say.
I don't know. Awfully footsie. Okay, so... it looks like there's footprints going like whoosh around and then... so I don't know.
I assume, based on what she's holding, she was at the desk writing.
Mm-hmm. If she was at the desk writing, gets
Did she get stabbed
in the
through the wall?
back, and then she turns around to chase the pursuer, or chase the attacker, or whatever, and then just falls flat because she dies.
I could also see like she's sitting on the chair writing, and you see the split in the wood at the back because it's just a reed thing.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
True. Or...
I could see that being the case. She's sitting there, back to the wall, basically.
dead. DED dead. Okay. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case.
Naturally.
We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective.
So where was he when that happened then?
Coughing up blood in the bathroom.
I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Ugh.
Very well then, counsel, bring forth your witnesses.
I, Takatsushi Aochi, have been waiting for this moment.
Sorry.
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago here in this very courthouse. When that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me.
Why are you bringing this up now?
Because technically, because in his mind, we're the cousin.
Ah,
Yeah.
Ryunosuke
Same plan.
Naruhodo.
What? Yes?
This insult to the Aochi family name will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new.
That's actually a very Snake
You know,
statement.
It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
it's like he just grew out the little dot on his head, just swirly.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls.
Huh?
Okay. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Canson?
Silence. Since I swore revenge back then, there's been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the ouchy growth.
That's a thing to call it.
You see? You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown?
The tiny growth is trying to tell me something.
I'm afraid I can't really see. Where's the hope exactly?
I said silence. Today, I face another Yoko student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial.
Are they?
I suppose.
Are they really? I don't quite agree with that take.
The prosecution and defense each has much to lose.
A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. Get over yourself. And refresh your stream.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. So, how do we want to...
How do you want to split these two up?
Aren't you did Natsume's or the guy on the right's voice last time, didn't you, Mason?
George Joestar.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's been a long time.
I believe it was just an exaggerated French accent more so than Susato's.
Well, it might be. It might not be.
And we can always change it and change voices too.
Yeah.
Um.
So he wants to be Turtle Boy.
Since I've got prosecutor and the other guy, I think it might be better for you to take that, since I don't... I mean, it might happen, but I don't think we'll have the two
I'm just trying to
characters.
think of them. Because I also did a deep voice for him. So I'm like, what do I do?
Everyone has a deep voice.
Everyone. And then again, I don't just have generic... Okay, yeah, sure. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Imperial Police Bureau. I am in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected.
And well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital. In fact, yes. Soon to be sold out. The satirical I Am a Cat. A sensational success by Soseki Natsume.
I was right.
That's me, by the way, if you didn't know.
So, like, there's no way this guy is not just, like, a blatant JoJo reference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he does just look like George Joestar.
I don't know, when was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure out?
Originally, like 86.
Yeah, the actual, like, series is old.
I see.
The anime, like, the newer, like, popular one, I believe had already reached part 3 by the time that we were in high school.
So yeah, could be.
I mean, there's the original OVA from
That too.
from 1993, but the actual original manga is like 1987. Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please, you needn't be in awe of the wonder that is me, for I am amazing. And you don't. It's only natural you'd feel nervous in my presence, but All of you, please relax, calm me. Soseki, even. I know it's hard for you to understand. Yes.
Nobody questioning the reporter behind Soseki. You know what? No, I didn't question him, actually.
That's
That
his
is
stand.
indeed his stand.
The that's his stand. Huey Lewis and the News.
Welcome in, Skull Team.
What on earth is Suseki-san doing here?
Tread carefully, Susato. Okay, now we were just getting on the other girl for that.
It's fine. Don't worry
Well,
about
nobody
it. I'm
can hear
deaf.
him.
What are you whispering over there?
Your Honor, my middle name is Susato. It's very common.
That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Perhaps you should keep it secret then.
No, he's a writer.
Yes.
Of course not.
Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so, it has been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe.
He's pretending to be a turtle. Do I have something on my face?
Glasses.
Well, your glasses for one. Although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either.
I suppose this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san?
Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. As you know, I'm very in the know. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's grand lecture hall, no less. I mean, anything less would be irredeemable.
Hosonaga and One Piece don't know how to feel about that. I don't know.
It's just
I
a bathing
think
suit.
I think you should feel about it exactly the same way the turtle strapped to his head feels about his position. That seems about fair, right?
I mean, the turtle is safe from all predators.
True. Does that mean Hosonaga and One Piece means you're safe from all predators?
He could be. Depends on what the predators are after. What? University, you say? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. She was so ready. The professor over there, in fact. With my father, with Professor Mikotoba.
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about two former students who'd studied in Great Britain.
Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leaves me alone, nor would I want them to. The public has a right to know. They secretly spy, snap shots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy.
Isn't this
But
also supposed to be like a secret thing because
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. This is about as big of a grievance as just the antique owner bringing a knife and playing with it in the middle of the courtroom.
I mean, what about the Russian who literally just was on the council, not the council, but on the jury, just squeezing a rat as he talked, like stress ball in it.
True. Public trial this time? Okay. So not as bad. Why are they at the freaking stand?
As you see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. It doesn't mention my name enough, but we'll get back to that. Read it at your leisure. My provincial struggling student friend, I have plenty of copies. For me, thank you very much. He threw that paper at me,
Like,
you snappy Englishman.
I'm just imagining, this.
Just like outsells a thing.
Have an answer. You might have an answer for Soseki's stand. Can I post a YouTube link? I think you can. It might time you out, but I should still be able to see it. I think. Actually, it might not time you out. I don't know what I have my automod stuff set to. Cool.
That's my grammar.
Hold on. Let me. Oh wait, no, that actually is down here. Dude. One second. There we go. Metaton. It's great. Love it.
Refitting.
Yeah. I like it.
Hello there.
Thank you for the Paulo Skull team. Welcome to the guild. Soseki Natsume article. A newspaper containing an article about the discussion between my father and Soseki-san. The debate became quite spirited.
Suppose we'll have to take a look at that in a sec.
Yep.
Anyways, following my interview with the professor,
Let me cut you off right there.
how dare you? Let's see. That's certainly a character. That's also a character. That might be a character. I don't think that's a character. Why is there broken glass on this photo?
Because he threw it.
No, I mean that would mean the lens of the guy.
I know, I was joking. He threw it so hard the picture broke, you know? But that actually might be a detail for later.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the only thing that really stands out.
Yeah.
Anyways, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. To me, you might wonder. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words.
Natsume presence is too much. Even the lens broke.
As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her.
That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear out all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Excuse me, as I cough up a lung. But fortunately... Dead. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly.
Oh my, Inspector, you!
Shout the inspector.
Well, you do have something on your face now. Best get it looked at.
I'm sorry, it's just ketchup. Please ignore.
Does that mean you went to the beach as well, too, Father? I mean, Professor.
No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place.
Of course. Being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the information. What if only I'd have never seen that awful sight. But it does give me inspiration for my next book. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret.
Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency.
Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am.
That eye twitch.
A lack of sleep, as you could probably guess.
Witnessed scene. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. Isn't it a cute turtle?
I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. Certainly not the crab.
I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question.
Yes. That young girl astride the English woman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly.
There was only one stab wound.
Uh,
I saw blood.
Artistic liberation, I'll have you know.
I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Do we just want to go ahead and call it out? Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime.
What? It's outrageous.
Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well.
The knife, I assume.
What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer.
What?
Your Excellency. If you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Could your fart be any stinkier?
I
Be
mean,
professional. Council, this is not a time to be stinky. Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. And we got... Why would you make it a 0 cooldown? Oh, so I did that because my stream would constantly go down. So sometimes even putting a 30-second cooldown was not enough. And nobody abuses it. If somebody starts to abuse that, then yes, cooldown. But until then, play with your toy. It's not like I'm a big streamer. Also, we have ads starting soon, so we are pausing here until ads are over. That way no one misses anything. This is indeed the time to be stinky. You gave us too much power.
I mean, power's in the realm of the wielder, so.
Yeah.
Oh, so a thing I'm just noticing, why is it that that chat doesn't have the, like, extra emotes on it?
I don't know.
Oh, so you gotta hydrate.
Thank you for the hydrate. I'm not sure.
It's like, I imagine they're coming from the same source, yeah?
No. That's a pop-out chat. So, well, I mean, technically, it'd be this. But it's just taking the URL. So I don't know why the formatting is probably the fact that it's not in Chrome. And it's a 7TV thing, which is an extension.
I was gonna say, because I've used the pop-out chat before, but that didn't, like, break that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that it's not in Chrome. That it's in OBS. I could make it a window capture. And just have that open. That is an idea.
I mean, it's not a big deal either way. I personally can't really read
Ads for
either of
Kingdom
them.
Hearts 4? Nice. I haven't seen any ads for Kingdom Hearts.
Is it gonna be better than the previous one, I wonder?
I don't know.
Or is it gonna be...
I'm curious to see the direction that it goes to. Because, like... Sora basically just disappeared. And I haven't played Remind yet, so I don't know where that ends. But I am excited for that. I should be getting... I need to finish 358 over 2 so I can go into 2. And then play 3. And then Remind.
How important is it to play the Switch rhythm game?
I don't think...
Oh, that was a Final Fantasy game.
No, there's one that is, like, specifically Kingdom Hearts.
That was, the Melody of Music or something. Or...
Melody of Memories, I want to say it was
yes,
called.
that one. Different M word.
I played the demo of it, and I was not a fan of how that game works.
It basically was taking Atlantica and making a full game out of it. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's just a fun rhythm game. I've never seen it anywhere. It's like, this is lore specific. We need... Anyway. Are we... Yep.
Well, as long as it's better than the third one, which just felt like an ad for the movies.
Kind of, yeah. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pin, Your Excellency. Ah, the owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. Wait, how did you modify that? What? Oh, you put... I see. You are excited. Yes. RM. Ray Mimbami. It looks like a weird bag of popcorn or something from how small it is. It's kind of funny. The initials of the defendant.
That could be any Raymond Bommy.
No.
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence. Fountain pen.
The critical evidence that the defendant has loaned her pen at one point or other to the deceased.
Yeah, I don't see how it's christened. Raymond Barry. Remember me!
I mean, they've established that they saw each other relatively regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get why her having her pen is that damning, as they say.
No idea. I stabbed her because of my pin. I need my pin back, and she wouldn't give it back.
She chews the caps like a heathen.
I just had to stab her.
So, have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence.
I don't know, let's take a look at that damning evidence. I can't. Neat. Why can't we modify the follower emotes? Gave you a nice idea. Oh, rip. I feel like that should be a thing you could do. No idea why it wouldn't be.
I think Twitch maybe, like, classes those differently.
They do.
And, like, doesn't let you do that stuff unless you are subscribed to the person.
No, you modify a single emote. It just doesn't have any of the follower emotes in here. It doesn't specify sub emote. It really should. Maybe I'll put a user voice in for it. See if that gets any traction. I'm gonna write that down real quick. Can't type with my hands in a hair knife. Ouchie means ouch. Yeah, he constantly has. He got a big ouchie from Ryunosuke, and now it's just forever hurting his family. And
was it really
through his
Ryunosuke,
name.
or was it his friend?
Hmm?
I mean, I know he blames Ryunosuke, presumably because Ryunosuke's friend is dead. But I feel like it's more Ryunosuke's friend, you know,
They cut
the guy who defended Ryunosuke,
Yeah.
and then also cut his hair.
Probably.
But of course, you can't blame him because he's dead.
No. He's just offended that someone who'd never been in the court absolutely destroyed him in court.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
Cosma died so he can avoid responsibility.
That's what Itachi did for Boruto.
You're gonna go to bed now? Alright, Luce. Sleep well, sweet dreams. I'll see you next time.
A good one. I don't understand. The prosecutor Ouchie of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise. Obviously, it's the armor he's wearing. Getting extra poise.
Mm-hmm. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san.
Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me!
Wah. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Only in my dreams. Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please.
Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness testimony to prove they are lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. I forego.
A witnessed scene. So we obviously know to press or to present the report on the multiple stab wounds dialogue, but do we just want to press? Hi. Hi, Lou.
You want her to say hi?
Sure.
She's gonna bark.
That's fine.
Tay.
Dog, yes. Loud barker. I had to mute because if she barked next to the mic after I bumped the gain so much, it would make everyone's ears bleed, including my own, because I'm monitoring myself. On this day, so do we want to press everything just for funsies?
We can, yeah.
Okay. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise.
While we go through this, I need to go to the washroom, so I'll be back before other guy, George Joestar, has a talking scene. But I need one of you guys to take over this.
Okay.
In that jaunty disguise?
Correct. Wait, no. I mean, it wasn't the first time I've worn the swimsuit for a dip in the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the Englishwoman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day.
And this tried and tested outfit was the answer.
Being able to blend flawlessly into a crowd is an important part of the detective's job. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water.
But there was no need for you to blend into the background on this assignment, really, was there? If that made you late arriving on the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong. Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at the moment.
Okay, we'll press a different line since Mason's not back yet. I ran into the beach hut at once where I found the pair in question. Why, bro got a turtle on his head? It's a part of his disguise. He was told to keep an eye on the person convicted of murder, and by any means necessary. So he put on his swimsuit and strapped a turtle to his face, or to his head, and decided to hide in the water. Because, you know, that makes sense.
Wait, by pair, you don't mean to say... But how could that be?
No, you misunderstand. Obviously, I mean the victim and the defendant, Rei Mbambi-san. You need to just blend in with the rest of the Ninja Turtles. Exactly.
Oh,
A whole body in the sand and just like the turtle sticking out. No, he was in the water, Funk.
oh, it would have been helpful if you could have just said that from the outset.
If you jump to conclusions, you have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes.
Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish. Very foolish. It really was an outside chance. I just wish I'd realized that before I said something silly. So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut?
Well, it was a very sorry sight. A really grisly scene. I parted the Norn curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped inside only to see she's just a silly Billy. The defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled on the sand.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
My glasses very nearly cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes.
How thoroughly appalling.
Ugh. He doesn't appear to be lying here or there. Well, Soseki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Hosonaga is saying? I wonder.
Ah, you'd like a literary man's opinion, eh?
It has been noted, Funk, yes. No one in the game has taken mention of it, but we have. We have this one.
You're describing the victim's scream, presumably Soseki-san.
And they call themselves lawyers. I know, right?
In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could pierce the heavens,
It might have...
much like a drill.
I would imagine it'd be hard to scream with a lung being pierced, but I could be wrong.
You do have two lungs, after all.
He's British? No, he's Japanese. He's just dressed in a British.
I'll have you know, I am Mr. Worldwide. Yeah. Or the like.
That's a British I haven't
Of
seen.
course, that's just a metaphor. A book metaphor. We renowned authors are wont to describe things so.
Soseki-san wasn't at all like this in England. What has happened to him?
Anyway, I spun around at the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze.
I like the asterisks, but that's just a game theory reference.
I guess my book theory reference.
Hmm. Soseki theory.
Yes, the beach hut.
Mason do pull good references. The area is popular with government ministers. Many have the seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Why is she
Why
French?
French? Why not French?
Funk,
The French, they know.
Funk, you were
Yeah.
here in the last game. She's been French since the last game.
One is always France.
Why? So I get the, they were forced to take her by the English government pressing, saying, "Hey, respect her final wish." But why did the beach have to be somewhere where like dignitaries were? Like what? No, you refuse. Too bad.
Hey, you do not have to agree. It is still the truth.
About to turn into Napoleon. Send that accent back to 1%. What does that mean? She planned to take flight. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun.
Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, like the selfish woman she is, or was, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the burning sand, bereft of all shelter.
Wee wee, like the Nintendo console. Sure.
Ah, I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you.
Well, anyways, I tossed the crowd aside and headed for the beach hut at a run. A clip, no less. Or, in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off, hut-wise.
Why type Wii like Wii when you can just type Wii? Because one's a Nintendo console and the other is the French word for yes.
I love the Nintendo yes.
So does Soseki. Soseki just admitted to beating up Mr. Krabs. And I'd do it again!
Just gotta say it like this. Dad, wildly. You actually saw her do this. The repeated motions, up and down, back and forth, in and out, yes?
Like the burger joint?
Oh, indeed, such a terrible sight. The terrible spectre, the terrapin inspector, the bloody torment, the author's torment. Why, I still see it before my eyes. Every sight and every sound is still carved in my melancholy memory. That's awful mind break trap of mine. That was my impression, at least as a future literary sensation, the core of my next novel.
You pointing that out, Funk, makes me think that the photo guy was the one who killed her. Because he's also British, and the British were the ones... Because, like, maybe she drew on his arm as he died, or as she died.
Or maybe
he
he
just
broke
didn't-
the fountain pen.
Yeah. We don't know the state of the nib.
But more than likely, he would just say, well, as I write every day, you'll see, you drag your hand through the ink.
Yeah. I'm bad at calligraphy. Bro dummy. Mm-hmm.
Council, what on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream?
No, no, what are you insinuating? I am as manly a Japanese man as you, despite your lack of hair.
I wonder if I might interject here, Saseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression, were your words just now, I believe.
What of it?
What about it?
Ah, so you mean to say
Everybody questioning the femboy must be a sight.
you're not confident? You really did see what you described? You are making assumptions.
Mr. Twitchy Man. Who and a what now? So, we're Susato, but yeah, so Susato is dressed as a man because women aren't allowed to be lawyers in Japan.
Well, then they're not allowed in the courtroom, basically,
Same difference.
in official capacities.
Yeah. They're allowed to be assistants.
No, I mean, yes. I mean, I know what I saw. It was plain as day, clear as the sky above me.
Whatever you say, Mr. Satan. Don't mind your Uncle Soseki. He has schizophrenia, he sees people around him, hence the outbursts and the looking around.
My ears didn't deceive me when I heard that scream. Hence, my eyes didn't deceive me either, despite what I did or didn't see.
He's very nervous.
I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it all in tomorrow's newspaper serial, for I am a preeminent literary author, lecturer at Yume University.
Yes, Grandpa Soseki.
He even looks like he's wearing a bathrobe.
It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn.
He's totally British. Like Funk, he was in the last game. He was sent to study British literature. Or technically the language. So he had spent many years in Britain.
Despite the resemblance, he is not George Joestar.
Soseki is also not a funny comedy British name.
Did you already read this?
Yep.
Oh.
I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become.
Oh dear. How awkward.
It's the first stand user. He's using a stand at the stand. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me she had stabbed the victim multiple times. So this is the one we would present evidence on, but we shall press it.
She was stabbed multiple times. How can you be sure?
Very simply, from the blood on the blade. Huh?
That makes no sense at all. It just means she was stabbed.
Huh?
There was just so much of it.
The blood. Like, blood.
When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air.
Yes, that's right. I saw it too.
Thank you for the hydrate.
Oh,
And I noted there was blood on the blade already at that point. Huh?
he's saying he saw the hand that stabbed was pulled out, and the blade already had blood on it, indicating that it had already been stabbed in. I guess.
So he went and saw that there was blood on the blade, and then saw her stab. Is what
That's
you're
what I
saying?
think. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Okay. Hydrate
Which
or
would
die.
imply that they got stabbed
friends.
multiple times.
Look at the bridge. It's dry. Mm-hmm. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene.
Yes, yes, that's right. I saw it too. I'm relevant.
And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand, too. 15 seconds till ads, or at least till my countdown thingy. So we pause.
Hmm.
Hydrating is good, yes.
It's good for your health.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend it.
I have been constantly hydrating because I have competition next week.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going, by the way, the practicing?
It's been going good, actually. I feel like I've actually got something to put my mind towards other than just, like, making kids better at fencing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been enjoying it a lot more, too.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take advantage of the ad break and go to the bathroom.
I... I also get to announce the project that we're working on at fencing next week. I'm
yeah?
excited. Yeah. I keep accidentally inching my way out of frame. So how you been, Mason?
I've been well, other than being sick last weekend, I've been fine.
Hmm.
I mean, I was sick from basically Friday night until mid Sunday last weekend.
Well, that sucks.
Hmm.
Yeah, my mom's been sick recently too.
Yeah, mine was like a stomach bug.
Hmm. Apparently, the doctors think that my mom's was a neurological thing,
Hmm.
which wasn't good.
Right.
Thought it was. I think it's because she was her doctor tried to put her on the medicine that I'm on, and she reacted very poorly to it.
Okay.
Because it's for ADD.
Right.
And I need to call my pharmacy, actually, thinking of that, probably tomorrow, and be like, yo, where is my medicine? Because I am out for 8 days. I've been out of it for 8 or 9 days, and if I don't take it, I get the worst headaches, but I have extra around the house that make it so that I can't. I don't need to worry about it too much.
Right.
But, like, for something that has such drastic side effects, the fact that they're... Also that I was advertised, yeah, these don't get put on hold because, you know, it's not a stimulant. And it helps all the same. It's a little frustrating.
Right.
I'm probably gonna just try to get off medicine altogether. And just see how
Yeah.
I do.
I got you.
We are back from ads. TJ is back from bathroom.
Yes, hello.
Hello, hello. Are you sure you're back?
No.
Maybe.
All right then.
How can you be sure?
Only fools are positive.
Just be negative enough, it'll make a positive.
3 rights make a left, as you know.
Mm-hmm. But do 3 rights make a wrong?
Only if you're a fool to reject the Lich King.
I see. Well, we definitely shouldn't do that. Victim was... I read that.
Yep, you did.
All of which means I can be sure that the victim did not die instantly.
He looks very sure of himself.
Heh.
Yes! Yes! Right! I saw it too!
Maybe a year in London was too much for him? He sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese.
The logic of your argument is sound, at least. Is it?
Kind of. Well, as
I mean,
said...
if he doesn't know the coroner's report, then yeah, it is logically sound.
It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Sorry, what were you saying? You just started talking in the middle of me.
Oh, sorry. Well, TJ said, you said when what's his name said the logic was sound. TJ said, is it really? And I said it depends if he knows the autopsy report.
Ah.
Because if he doesn't know the autopsy report, then yes, it's logically sound that I saw blood on the knife already before they were dead, so therefore they got stabbed multiple times.
Yeah.
But the autopsy report says there's only 1 stab wound.
That's hella precision if it's multiple stabs and only 1 stab wound.
Right. Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. That's just my personal opinion, of course. Do your job.
Your ridicule hurts my soul. Counsel, you will refrain from mocking the witness.
I mean, they're a large part of why this happened.
True.
Oh no, I just have so many thoughts whirling around in my head. All I can do to stand here, wild-eyed and mute.
Goodness, my dear, you really must try to calm down.
But how am I supposed to find an inconsistency in what these 2 gentlemen are saying?
It's obvious.
I don't see why either of them would have any reason to lie. Unless they are on the take.
What you must remember, I think, is that witnesses may inadvertently lie at times. For various reasons, a misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, a delusion even.
A delusion.
What's important is that we determine the truth. And there's only one sure way to do that.
Yes, with evidence, of course.
Spoken like a true judicial assistant.
And when there is none, we make it ourselves, like Zidor.
During witness testimony, you can use E to pick a piece of evidence to present for consideration.
Can we double check the autopsy report that does say there's only 1 stab wound?
Yes.
Only a single wound. Cool.
So you need to listen carefully to each statement and compare what's said to the details in the court record.
The voice you gave her makes her sound like she has down.
I suppose. If that's what you think.
That's not very nice to the French.
I mean, Is not.
That's fine.
Speaking of not very nice to the French. Oh, where is it? There we go. Anyways,
I have to share this with the class.
it's too topical.
Punishes a sinner by making her French.
Hey.
Once you've identified a witness's statement that appears to conflict with a piece of evidence, present the evidence to the witness with R, and the way ahead will present itself to you, I'm sure.
Yes. Alright then. I'll consider the details of all the evidence in the courtroom against each statement and find an inconsistency. I hope I am up to the task, because no one else is.
Don't forget that you can have the witnesses repeat their statements as many times as you like. Everyone has to start at the beginning, remember. So those wide eyes are quite forgivable. And besides, there's no one else to defend the poor girl.
You're right. I need to listen from the start. Once
No.
more.
I wish that instead of at the end, like if you go through pressing that dialogue, instead of saying, "Oh no, there's no more things," there was like another panel or something that was like, "I don't know what to do, give hint," or whatever, because that's effectively what that looping thing is like give instructions, but it does it regardless of where you are in the game, which is kind of annoying.
So that one.
Objection!
Well, this is new.
Very cinematic.
The word.
Was that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep within me? I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
Yep.
Well, what's the meaning of this menacing pose, Counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me, if you please.
Who, what, where, when, how?
Not you, Soseki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga.
At me?
In your statement just now, you said the victim was stabbed multiple times.
I thought of a different voice I want to try with him.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand like a murderous demon.
You never hydrate, by the way.
Yep, thank you for the hydrate.
And yet, that cannot be.
What? Get to the point, please, counsel.
In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only.
Ah. Bless you.
In other words, Inspector Hosonaga's testimony is clearly flawed. He's not French enough. And Soseki-san,
Me?
You claim to have seen Mimbami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim.
Yes. Yes, I did. Wildly. Oh. Oh.
But both of you and Inspector confirmed the same point. That there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding.
So Seki took aim. Finger gun. Yes, and?
So you're telling me he's whole horse now? It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing had already occurred.
True.
And what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you going to tell us?
Yes, Your Excellency, there is only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all.
See, now I'm just imagining Ray doing the Asian squat, pulling the dagger out, being like, what is this?
That's basically what Naruhodo did with a gun, though, so.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, Marquise? Oh, Marquise is the one who shot. Hi.
I thought that was somebody else.
Yeah, apparently.
Too engrossed with my accent.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body,
It still doesn't, like, liberate her from the accusation of you stabbed.
Mm-hmm.
but it was now no longer witnessed.
True.
That can't.
Like robot.
Excellent work, Sasato.
You have several bullets and you're doing fine. Just wanted the level 20 knife while being level 12.
Hey, she was already dead. She didn't need it anymore.
You exploded at them with that objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection! I had to fart.
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show. You're right. There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair.
Got him. Pause may look like Ouchie was
He was sampling the vintage.
Slander, my head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing in multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference.
What? Why not?
Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow.
Quote unquote Musk. Mm-hmm.
And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim.
Yeah, but now your witnesses are unreliable.
Yep.
All you've successfully shown with your little display is that the mustached author is prone to moments of extravagance.
I think he looks like he's prone to moments of seizures.
Prone to moments of mental breakdown.
Yo.
One of these times she's gonna hit the wall so hard that the hat flies off and her hair comes down and everybody's like, "A woman!"
He's like, no, I just have long hair. 50 times I am modern man.
I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion.
But if she were withdrawing the blade,
Then we are back to where we started.
sorry,
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good.
Maybe Ray was the one heard screaming?
why did Ray pull out the knife?
Ah, yes. Going for the jugular.
What does father mean by that?
But she was stabbed in the lung.
Let the court hear your answer then, counsel.
The truth is, I don't really know. C'est la vie. But I have to come up with a plausible reason, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant
I
seems to
mean,
be saved her life.
it's the only one that has a good-looking option. Stab
Yeah,
her
but you were just
again!
like-
Or hide the knife is still showing
Guilty.
guilt, so yeah.
According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant.
That is correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
Why does that indicate that, my guy?
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Membami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim.
Your Honor, the defendant had free loot in front of her. You would pick it up as well if you were in her place. Mm-hmm.
Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. I mean, that's a terrible thing to do if
Yeah.
somebody's stabbed.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed.
Ugh. Is it just me? Or does it suddenly feel much colder in here?
Yeah, I guess the room doesn't approve of the I wanted loot, Your Honor. Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the Yokel Defense Counsel, I mean.
Slipshod.
An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. That word. Yes, sir, I will do so flawlessly.
I mean, your first one wasn't flawless.
Nope. Man's just said, I can testify on this dummy because they make little sense. Yep. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge for any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget the young student did have motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor.
Is what you say true, Inspector?
Wait, did Susato not know that?
I mean, she potentially could not know that, I guess. It doesn't make sense, but
Everybody just being picking on Finboy with Down syndrome.
Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily?
Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed.
Oh, I see.
This is why Yoko should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows that
Excuse
isn't
you?
a lot of people, I hope.
Unless there's a way of stopping the blood flow without the knife. True.
Just jam a finger in there.
I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound. I've only cut a hole in a door with a saw. I do not know.
Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit.
Father, is it true what they're telling me?
Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it.
As a professor at a medical university, as a medical professor at a university, would you not want your own daughter to understand first aid?
you would think he would.
Women aren't allowed to know things in Japan.
Not in this time, apparently.
If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways.
But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge it would be fatal for Miss Brett?
Nursing wasn't a thing for a long time in Japan. That's fair.
I don't
What-
know.
What do we have in the court record again? Like what stuff is it again? We have
We have
The
the
medical
report, the
report.
pen, the
Photograph.
newspaper thing.
and the newspaper, yeah.
Can we like spin any of them around like we could the last game?
Not yet. Because the fountain pen I want to, but it's not letting me yet because it hasn't gotten us to that part of it with the tutorial.
Ray never once mentioned anything about Zen life to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but could my friend actually have?
Susato,
Yes.
pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here.
Yes, of course.
Counsel, it is time for your cross-examination.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving my adjudication immediately afterwards.
I understand.
I have to cycle the statements in the testimony to unlock the view feature? Yeah. Well, so like we can still look at this. It just doesn't we haven't gotten one that needs it and gotten to where we would need that.
This is still the tutorial case, so they're going to pretend like we don't know how to do the game.
I guess yeah. I guess it has to introduce the ability to look at evidence in the three-dimensional space.
because this was a 3DS game.
Mm.
Like it has to introduce that as a mechanic before to let you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming there's some evidence on one of the things we do have that we can only get once you're allowed to spin the objects around, like the back of the newspaper or something, kind of how the pawn cards had something.
Oh, you have to cycle all. Would me pressing the last statement first, is that what you're saying we should do? To go through that thing just so it's like we have the information and then we know what we're looking for rather than not pressing?
Just read through all the statements.
Just cycling them. So I guess
We'll
pressing. We'll look at it when we get. We're about to hit ads. Yes, it's stupid. Okay.
I mean, it makes sense. They designed the game as if you'd never played an Ace Attorney game before.
Yeah, I mean that's the way you should design games. It's just a meh.
It makes it more difficult because it's very clearly a sequel game.
Yeah, I feel like there should be an option in games like this of, did you play the game prior to this?
Do you know how the game works?
I mean, to be fair though, even if we did know how the game works, it's not like we could get the stereoscope to work.
Yeah. Well, you know, I guess I can go get a snack because ads are about to start, so I'll be back.
And you get some water myself.
Mhm.
All this talking is too much.
Take me away, Hank.
And now I am all that remains. Let's see, plan sequence breaking for the series veterans make sense. Yeah. I mean, I personally prefer just like an option to turn stuff off.
I'm back.
Hello.
This is a really long intro case. We've been doing this for 2.5 hours.
They're like that sometimes. Part of it also might be that this one is newer, because like the Game Boy ones, I'm pretty sure would be like fully done by this point.
Gotcha.
Let's see, want to know what happens before your part? Nah, I'm good. I like to look at like plot stuff for these games a lot. I'm also like pretty like versed in the series, so I can tell a lot of the tricks that they like to do. So how have you been? I didn't really get to hear much of that, what with the bathroom break.
I've been alright for the most part. As you know, I was sick last weekend with a stomach bug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically sick from Friday night until mid-Sunday.
Mm.
I didn't even go to work on Monday.
That's pretty rough.
Other than that, though, I've been pretty alright.
I'm back from my long journey.
You went on the journey west?
He can't hear you yet.
I see. I have leftover frozen pizza that I'm eating.
Okay, I can hear. My ears are on.
That's if you went on a journey to the west.
Mm-hmm. I got popcorn. They taught me how to make it.
What kind of popcorn?
Kettle corn.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Weakest case, but good nonetheless. Yeah.
That's how the tutorial ones tend to go, usually. Like, it has to be
Right.
put together enough to hook you, but isn't really, like, super
Difficult.
thought out.
This one just already kind of seems about as paper thick. Paper thin is or more so than the original tutorial case from the other game.
It kind of feels like this case, quote unquote, is just a pretense to blame somebody for the death, so the government's not responsible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like from a story perspective.
Yeah.
Like, you ready to start again?
Mm-hmm.
Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. Like a rock.
I had no idea it would be this hard. Was made to kill the swan.
It knew too much.
So just cycle the things.
Well, assuming before we know anything, that statement just now, the previous one,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the one we're going to have to do evidence on
Mm-hmm.
when it gives us the chance.
This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it.
Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals.
The fundamentals,
Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it?
of course. I've been through the court record dozens of times already.
I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You needn't take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too.
Ray pulled the blade to check the wound. How deep is this knife?
I realize this is your first time playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom, so if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help.
Examine the evidence in the court record. It's an idea. Certainly. What should I do?
I know what to do. At least it gives us that.
I can also
Come to think of it,
kinda see, like, the thought process they had, because the thing you actually need to call them out on, you don't have the option for yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san were always turning evidence over and over in their hands.
Just being like,
Just getting their fingerprints
With
all
their
over that.
bloody paws all over the evidence, making sure everybody knew they were there, touching it, feeling it, inspecting it. Yes, I need to examine things in greater detail with this space button.
Ah, by look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at everything. You may just find a clue.
Yes, I will do it straight away. What about dinner?
Guess we'll just look at all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Oh, this one actually does allow us to now.
Rockets Anglon returnees tell this is the interview with you at Suseki-san. Is it father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange.
Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck.
Whatcha?
I do hope you weren't hurt.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
Right, so we can turn it around. Ah, a new story.
This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive! Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory.
So that's why
that
they
makes-
wanted her.
That's why they pulled the knife out.
Hmm.
Poison on the knife.
I see.
And medical report. Dilated pupils.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
I think you skipped the...
Did I?
there.
Yeah, my brain just... It does not let me go
I
back.
guess that's that then. What the? Let me see that.
C'est la vie.
That's the poison. The poison's been stolen.
This morning's paper that Soseki-san gave me. Are you saying you didn't know?
As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I have not heard any such thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned this information?
I'm doing a bit.
Thank
Another
you for the hydrate.
There was no article mentioning this story in our papers this morning, was there?
It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I'd put Ray in charge of the project.
Ray, she was managing it.
If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, details were leaked somehow.
You can't send one message? I have language filters. Like, I try to be family friendly. The only one I really don't care about is hell, because it's a place. So, like, meh. But, I do that just because I don't... I have frequently had people who have kids that watch this stream with them. Yes. Yes, it is. You can use dang, you can use darn.
Best not to be a beaver then.
Yeah. Must have a stand of his own if he can survive Soseki's karate chop. Hmm.
I don't believe it.
We need to read this article very carefully.
I guess incompetent poison control.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's gonna be our. When he says there's no compelling reason to pull the knife out,
Yeah.
it'll be the poison article. Is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a symbol on the bottom?
There is. What is this?
There's some sort of emblem here. Look. But it isn't a Yume University one.
It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind.
NATO.
But
Even
what
though
would-
that wasn't established yet.
But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray.
Uh-huh. It's mysterious.
Maybe the ladies name is not the Giselle whatever.
Brett.
Yes. Oh, it could be WY.
But the
But
periods
the
are
only
on
thing
the
I think
other.
it's upside down.
Hmm. Maybe.
Our initials are very clearly engraved here.
And the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message, too.
Also, why would it be Ray's initials written in English letters when she's
Also,
Japanese?
why would it be written in English ordering,
Yeah,
Mhm.
like first name, last name?
yeah,
Why even would the letters be English?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what Mason said. Like, even if they were for some reason because it was a gift, right?
Upside down
Why would it be
commas.
like that?
Mm-hmm. Was this red?
Mhm.
To identify her killer, you mean?
I don't think there can be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case.
All right, let's present our evidence soon, I guess. Oh, there's another statement for us.
Yeah, I think we can open the pen.
If we take off the pen lid,
That's such an odd word to use for that.
well, the pen lid
hmm
versus a cap.
It just feels weird calling that a lid.
The lid.
Yeah.
The lid.
Let's unscrew the barrel, shall we?
Gilded. It
It's like a vial in there.
empty.
Is it like is this like a plunger designed to look like a pen?
Mm-hmm.
This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink.
Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib.
But how do you do that? Because it doesn't have a mechanism with which to do that.
I assume he's talking like suction.
Oh, sorry. I read that and skipped by it.
Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all.
Oh yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. Maybe.
Okay. Details have been
Maybe
updated.
Where is there a small amount of liquid in that chamber again?
Literally in this part.
Yeah, I assume it's the way it's supposed to work, quote unquote. Is that like it? I would think it draws it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it draws it up, but it doesn't, like, push it down or something.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I've messed with
actually,
a thing like that, and the way the one that I had worked was, it was kind of like a syringe, except you would like turn it instead of like pull a thing. So like the little action that they did there of unscrewing it and all that would be the thing that would fill
would do it.
if it worked like that.
Neat. Does this have anything? Okay, so this is just details about what was written.
I'm thinking. Hold on, go back to the right. And then the third page.
Onset of symptoms occurs in starting with impaired breathing, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. Toxin. Oh yeah, because her eyes were contracted.
Right. That's what I was saying. That's. So we say that yes, there's a reason she pulled the knife out. She knew about the poison that was missing, and say, well, how can you know there was poison used? Well, we can't detect it right now technically because it's a new chemical, but the sign that it was there is the victim's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how we go about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why it would be, the chamber would be clean if it had pinning.
But what if the chamber had the poison in it?
You would think there'd be some traces of something, unless it's like the inside has a waterproof like thing, but that's getting into selective technology, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the poison just breaks down in sunlight.
Maybe. Okay. Alright.
You said doing it without thinking could be a problem. Does that mean if you use deux cas à l'intention, it would be alright?
I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out, really, but maybe Brett got some sand in her eyes.
Little
My
Tobey
eyes!
Maguire.
Sorry, what?
I said, little Tobey Maguire, I'll throw sand in your face.
Pocket sand.
Gonna cry?
The blade is like a stopper in the wound. Remove it and serious hemorrhage will occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You can't just do it.
But we're doing it with thinking.
But Shia LaBeouf just said, just do it! So, like, I pulled my thing out of my ears. There we go. Ray cast pocket sand on Brett.
We all know that Ray's an Naruto's main.
Yes, that makes sense. He wasn't born yet. They didn't have the wisdom of Shia LaBeouf at this point. That is true.
Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation.
Brett's accuracy went down.
You see, Council? When you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath.
Ugh. Keep your comments to yourself.
Back to the witness testimony, please. Basic knowledge.
Is that case? Is it? This better. She better not say that the obvious explanation is that her medical student friend doesn't know this. She better not say that.
The only thing she should be saying is maybe she's qualified to take that kind of care.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, I will be upset.
Yeah. In that case, there's an obvious explanation here.
Which is?
Clearly, the defendant Ray Mebamis. Jesus Christ. Why?
That's worse.
Literally, why?
Scared the poop out of him.
No.
Your Honor,
sense.
my client is stupid.
Clearly, the defendant Ray Mebumi does not possess an ounce of sense.
That fart was the culmination of which she might have a point, duress. Sure. The fart was just the culmination of all of those farts, or of all those thoughts leaking out of Susato's ear. In other words, she had a brain fart right before she spoke this.
Excuse me.
What do you think about that, Professor Bikutoba?
I'm not sure that you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense.
Your Honor, me and my client can't share the same brain cell.
Well, I thought you would be better than labeling her a murderer.
I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it.
I mean, if you can't call your friend an idiot, are you
True.
even really friends?
True. But I don't think doing that in a capacity which involves court is quite appropriate on any level of friendship. Careful counsel, a lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing. This friendship, old man.
Oh dear. Is that the recoil on me? Rather badly.
The fact that that just wasn't even a choice.
Yeah.
That's life, I'm afraid. A
Thank you
lesson
for
everyone must learn.
Yeah, exactly, when the game makes the wrong choice for you. Hopefully you can see now this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research, Mimbami-san would certainly have been aware of it. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Are you sure, though?
But the defendant has suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently.
I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally.
Oh, but the irrational behavior, Jesus, is a woman's prerogative, isn't it?
She really just said women, am I right?
Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Well, you know, at least it does good for her identity right now.
Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold a little too much.
This is major
I mean,
Japan.
they don't even let them in the courtroom, so what are they going to say about that?
Yeah. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? Well, that should cover the medical side of the argument. Let's not forget the young student did have a motive for killing the victim.
Whatever the motive, it just isn't in Mebami-san's nature to do something so awful.
And I feel like they say, how do you know that person's nature?
Yeah.
Mm.
But she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against.
But you don't know the defendant?
And you, counsel, do not appear to know the law.
Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings.
With this fledgling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused.
Your Honor, Your Honor, she was holding the knife for a friend. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defense's motives, please. Yes, Miss Brett was in many ways the sworn enemy of Mimbami-san. Okay, I don't want to press this just because it's going to take us through that loop again.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing that. So I'm going to do this.
Objection!
Why is he always coughing up blood? I don't know.
Honestly, he's probably just sick.
I don't think it ever gets explained.
He's got the disease.
He's got the consumption.
You know,
No, there is one possibility. one very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound.
What?
Huh. The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser.
His liver is failing? Is that like canon?
Ellis, then, what possibility do you think you've identified?
I just don't know where it's explained.
That might just be in like when these came out, that you still got a little booklet on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Might have just mentioned something in there.
Hmm.
It's here in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Yume Uni.
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
Ads? Ads start soon. Yes.
But
This is a good place to pause, though. Yeah. I didn't realize how close it said. It said 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm. Potential is too much for his body to bear. He just has so much extravagance in his blood that it can't take it. It just comes out his throat constantly. There we go. There's the ads guy. Put Saseki's mustache on the ads fellow. I could, yeah. That's not something I can do quickly, but that's... We could put a mustache on him. Your Honor, they keep invalidating my evidence. They're not playing fair. Maybe I should give the ads guy some potion bottles and wares. You telling me to add a mustache to the ads man has given me much to think about as far as what I could add to him. And he's just a friendly large body, you know? Give me his strongest potions. Prosecutor Ouchi, you will let the defense speak.
But a newspaper article, the court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry.
Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You'll indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion. Your assertion.
Your Excellency.
yes, of course. Thank you. They would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained with the article is deadly in 20 quantities.
Why is the poison being developed?
The article reveals the following property of the poison in question.
Your Honor, when do I get the ability to update the autopsy report? That's a good one. But Phoenix, you have failed to consider this updated autopsy report. No!
A sound argument, but you forgot that I didn't tell you everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically half the cases last game.
Yep.
A good argument.
But
Too bad I have more evidence against you.
Yeah.
When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with poison, it rapidly absorbs and causes death in minutes.
Are you suggesting?
If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible.
But now we have to both show that she knew that blade had the poison on it for some reason, and also didn't stab the victim because she knew about the poison.
I mean, she was working on the poison herself, so she'd know the symptoms of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So she should be able to recognize the symptoms in the deceased.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. The truth is,
You're right, she did know it was stolen. But connecting it to that specific knife, I don't know.
I mean, unless the poison has really specific tells. I mean, if she knew it was stolen, and she knows the specific tells, and that particular poison has very unique tells, then you could reason that yes, the knife is poisoned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just more to the story that hasn't unfolded yet, so.
Right. An attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body.
What?
This is complete and utter nonsense.
Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the victim's demise, as you surmised, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility.
Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document.
Symptoms do, though.
Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant. They're just so dumb.
Yeah.
Prevented the blade poison from taking hold.
How did the reporter know that it was stolen before the professor overlooking the project? I have no idea.
I bet that's going to come back to the if it's the same reporter who took the picture on the first article, we'll be able to see if there's a crack as well again.
True.
Oh please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case.
Thank
as
you.
I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway.
He's fanning the farts away, because he's just that stinky.
I bet you he's hiding a piece of evidence.
Probably is. He was in the first case.
Well, right. And this one, but he's hiding something in this one that disproves his theory.
Probably. I want to say he was doing that in the first case as well, because he kind of sets it up so that he can't lose.
Mm-hmm.
Ouchie is a fart smeller.
Ooh, another hydrate.
No me water. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade? She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions, then, or the argument makes no sense.
Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, yokel?
Why did the lady suspect the stolen poison was involved? The eyes are the windows to the soul. If you want grounds, I will give you grounds.
I don't care if it's a fast-acting poison. Wait for it to activate while people take their time to show up. What?
You can't possibly...
From your expression, Counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. Thank you very much. I've seen it many times from my place at his side in the Eau de Pays.
In that case, Counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article? I think both of them... we probably need to do this one, though, right?
I would think so, because that lists the, things.
Yeah.
The
People constriction observed in both eyes.
I mean, it's either that or it's the other one, so.
Yeah.
I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, observed in the victim.
Ah.
Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please, do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report.
Alright. See you in a bit, Skull Team.
Means it is an unusual symptom of death.
Wow.
Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, then that's most certainly unusual, yes.
What are you doing, you yokel detective?
Oh, now he's a yokel. Nice.
My job. In the newspaper article is the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occur in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely.
Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Yeah.
Prosecutor Auchi, get off your duff and answer the question. I think you will agree this is very compelling evidence.
You yokel student and yokel professor.
Is that just his only insult in the book right now?
Yep.
Everyone's a yokel if they don't agree with him. I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
Yujin Mikotoba,
Yes, Your Excellency?
I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. Will you tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please?
It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know.
You don't know?
The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft.
Do you mean to tell the court that the report of this theft is unfounded?
No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Huh. Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper.
He just hasn't been back to his office, dingus.
Wasn't that paper out, like, that day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that day's newspaper. It's that no, hold on. It's not just that day's newspaper. It's like the midday newspaper because the morning newspaper didn't have the story.
Yeah.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father,
A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
Huh?
that's totally unfounded.
None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault.
Really?
Mimami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But it was me. I was the one who noticed the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So you knew?
I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that Professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount, it was.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken.
That sounds like a reason to say something about it.
Yeah. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was.
The thief? You don't mean?
Yes, of course. It was that dainty English woman.
Miss Giselle Brett?
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on the stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me, as if she knew she was untouchable.
Yeah, she got stabbed through the wall.
Yeah. I know it was you who stole the poison.
Well, now, whatever do you mean?
And then she suddenly got to her feet before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. Pupils of her eyes they shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it.
In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I had been with her. Which only left one possible way for the poison to have entered her body.
On the blade of the knife in her back.
And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade?
Yes, if the amount had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I had hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent this whole time.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I've duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom.
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Mambami-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed.
Through the wall.
Hmm.
Well,
You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
But you, but you have no conclusive evidence to prove the assertion, do you?
Oh, I have evidence. And it is very much conclusive.
Wait. Do you have the knife?
It was me, but he hesitated for a moment. I'm sure of it.
He doesn't. I think he has the knife or something. You'll produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Ouchie.
Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student.
What?
I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence.
It's really pulled sore loser moves. Yep.
But you've brought this on yourself.
I mean, I could just hold on now.
Yeah.
Ignoring the scene, this is the same crack as the newspaper.
Oh yeah. Hey.
Like,
Yeah,
ignoring that this would be her pulling the knife out, this is the same crack on the front of the newspaper. So it's the same newspaper man.
Yeah. Which means, again, I was right. He did it.
Mm.
Oh, there we go, folks. Yep.
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Mambani-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back.
no, that's not true. No.
I don't believe it.
Order. Counsel for the defense. Was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature.
I'll show you who's slow to mature. I'll beat you ass at the head.
Careful now. Susato is starting to show her face here.
It's often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence. Photographic print taken at the moment the victim was attacked. My best friend Ray can be seen kneeling over Miss Brett.
I believe he had a photograph like this up his sleeve the entire time. It's such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words.
He was already on the floor without bruises. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. How do you... I mean, who took that photograph?
Hey,
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention.
It is actually very important.
Objection!
so there's a third thing to say. It is crucially important. Whoever took this photograph was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony.
Ah,
I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Well, I don't know. That's what he's gonna say.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Pardon.
You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown.
Goodness.
Are we to understand then, Council, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believed it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court?
Ouchie is the real killer, case closed. Yep. Agreed.
When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor. What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses.
Why is all your evidence not provided at the very beginning, like an actual court case?
This, I think, is something we touched on a little bit last time, but
Inadmissible? Yeah.
the way that, like, court stuff works in Japan is a little different.
Yeah, I mean, stuff can be, like, found throughout, like, a trial going on multiple days. They can submit new things to court and stuff. I get that. But, like, you have the stuff. Just put it in there.
Like, I'm not an expert or anything, but from what I've heard at least, this is a lot more accurate to, like, Japanese court systems.
Mm-hmm. Was this red? I don't remember.
Don't think so.
Not yet. I'm responding to a message from my parents. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but
The moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings.
don't waste our time with your garbage evidence.
Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. It could literally go either way, my guy.
But
It is in
we
the middle.
have the secret strat. We can tell that there's a crack on the lens.
Yes, we have
There's
wonderful
not a
powers of
distinct
deduction.
We have working eyes.
Everyone else is almost as blind as a bat.
Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Rei withdrew the blade from the victim.
Court was a way of upholding the peace, which for Japan meant public-facing peace and order, quickly turned into a way to silence and remove political opponents. Don't know how much of it has changed since then.
Yes, we just need to prove that somehow.
You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Takatsuchi Ouchi in the court of law.
If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it.
Yes.
There is. And we noticed it the first time we saw the newspaper article, too.
Yeah. Judge really went, she is guilty until proven innocent. Exactly.
Like I said, this case feels like, well, we need something to happen because we're to blame for this extradited criminal dying on our hands, on our watch.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seen doing something. That's what it feels like.
You would honestly feel like you would want it to look like subterfuge rather than your actual own people. but you know, it's just
I mean,
my
they just-
thoughts.
They can't always just say, well, she's a rogue element, not representative of the Empire of Japan.
Yeah, but it also, if you have a rogue element like that, and people are stereotyping your entire country.
I mean, yes, but they don't want
whereas-
to. They don't want to face that. Is what it feels like.
Yeah,
Clearly, she stabbed herself to make us look bad.
yeah. Well, counsel.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all in an Ace Attorney game.
True.
Your Excellency, the burning question is who took that photograph? And the truth is, I have the... Do we actually have the answer, though? Like, I know we do.
Yeah, because they said the, like, paparazzi guy did it.
Yeah, I think.
Like, we need to present the newspaper, I'm pretty sure, but, like, that guy or the professor, I forget who, like, mentioned that that was
Mhm.
Oh,
the
do,
person.
do that one, then. Do the article.
Yeah. We will answer this question after ads.
Also, this has been a very long tutorial case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am hungers.
Yeah.
It's been close to, like, what, 3.5, 4 hours at this point? It looks
Three and
Three
a
and a
half.
half, I think.
Whenever ads guy decides to roll in.
And here I thought maybe we would see the start of the next case.
I mean, I didn't expect the tutorial case to take 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a proper case technically. It just doesn't have the investigation part of it.
That's true. I just didn't think they would make the first case 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, running all of the information that I remember about, like, the tutorial case in the first game,
Mm-hmm.
like the very
Alright.
first Ace Attorney.
Good night, Skull Team. Thank you so much for hanging out. Really had a fun time with you here hanging out. I will see you next time if I am live when you can. We do Ace Attorney every Sunday. Other than that, I tend to do variety stuff like dev stream, trying to get through Kingdom Hearts, and I started Shadow of War. So if this is Ace Attorney's your jam, it's on Sundays. But I hope you sleep well and have sweet dreams.
Good night.
Have a good one.
But, like I was saying, from all the stuff I recall from, like, the very first game's intro thing, basically all of it would have been, like, run through by this point.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot more, like, cut and dry about how things are.
Yeah.
At least, like, mechanically speaking. Like, there's still a lot of talking and all that, but, like, it's pretty clear what the answers and stuff are.
Mm-hmm. I think there's just a lot of talking
Mm-hmm.
and going back and forth. And also, we are just going through and pressing everything rather than just being like, well, clearly we know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I have the answer. Schmack.
This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print
Shall be pulled out to my butt.
is, I assure you, someone the defense can and will reveal.
Meh.
What? No, you can't possibly. But as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us.
Unfortunately, I am unable to present a name.
How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could...
However, I am able to present evidence. The evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity.
What?
Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court.
Alright.
Oop, wrong button.
Watch out.
What is that? The newspaper again? Rochus England returnees tell all.
It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look closely, you'll notice there are some white lines on the right-hand side.
Ah, yes, indeed. They had already caught my eye as it happens.
Huh. What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably. From the branches of a tree or the like.
They're inside, dingus.
One of those indoor trees. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you.
Now, if you look closely at the photograph,
Good gracious.
yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Well, that tells us nothing. Aha, yes. It's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree.
Bruh.
There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach council. Grow a pair.
What's quite remarkable about it is that the patterns are absolutely identical.
This is where the stereoscope would come in handy.
How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired?
The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of a camera defect.
Some tree branches. So you admit it!
Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photograph.
With the photographic device. Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched. And that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device.
Why is
In
he so
short-
sweaty unless he did it? I know, right?
He's
The
always
two
sweaty.
photographs. No, sorry.
Go ahead.
The two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera.
But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
I think you're forgetting Prosecutor Ouchie. That one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article.
A newspaper.
That's right. The author of the article is the mystery witness to this crime.
Hundreds of cracked cameras that are cracked in the same way? Yeah, exactly.
Feels like we're coming to like a break point.
Yeah. I see now why you were called a Rochus England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified.
It's Memino! I tell you, Memino! me! Oh!
Fuseki-san, what was that? Did you say Mimo?
Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move, reporting my every stance. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo!
Hello, white
Yes,
guy.
hounding me from dawn till dusk.
Ah, now that he mentions it,
They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy.
could that the same reporter be?
Oh, and those are the initials on the pen.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you were talking about the ink on his hand. Maybe that came from the pen itself.
yeah.
That's why there's no ink in it.
A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right, scribbling, scrabbling. There I am, stuck in the middle with right and
That was-
many memo.
I was song lyrics.
Stuck in the middle, yes.
Yeah.
Steelers wheels.
So you're saying this picture was taken by...
By many memo, yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire.
Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We'll adjourn for a short recess in the meantime.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency. And there's a part 2 to this story?
Probably. There's a part 2 to the first one.
As
Yeah,
as
but
you
the,
say,
did
Your
the first one
Excellency.
take 3 hours and 45 minutes for part 1?
Yeah.
Dang, it's a long time.
I streamed it for 6 hours.
Hmm.
And it was just the first case. And then I came back and I'm like, dang, I should have finished the case because it had 10 minutes left.
Mm-hmm. Ace Attorney likes to do that.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe you've read this.
I did that, but it was while we were talking. As you say, Your Excellency.
Hmm. And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood?
Meh. Many memo.
Hey. It's already 5:30, that's crazy.
I know, right? Is this to be continued? Alright, we're ending here. Oh, I need food. My stomach is yelling at me. Save? Yes, please.
But yeah, these are like way longer than earlier game intros because like they don't have a break like that.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's see. We got anyone? Nope. Alright, we're just gonna end.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and I will be back tomorrow. I casted dead stream. No stream fart. Unless it actually did do a stream fart. No, it didn't. I think I'm gonna do more Shadow of War tomorrow. And potentially drawing some stuff. I don't know. It might just be Shadow of War. I don't know. It depends on what I'm feeling. But I will see you early tomorrow, probably. Morning stream, maybe. But until next time, have a wonderful rest of your time zone. And I will see you then. Bye-bye.